Hello, chess fans! This is Rick from Chess to Progress with number 35 in the series Viewers Games. This one is from Bo. Hi Rick, my name is Bo, I'm 23 years old and I am from the USA. I just started playing chess about 2 months ago using the chess.com app. I've played about 200 games now in the 10-minute format for each player, and I'm only rated around 850 to 900, so I'm not that good, but I love your videos and would love for you to analyze this game in which I'm playing black. Let's have a look at Bo's game. Let's look at this game from the black perspective, from Bo's perspective. Bo, our hero in this video. e4 from white, e5 from Bo, and queen f3. Well, there's two things to say about this move. The first one is don't bring your queen out too early, and secondly, don't occupy the natural square for the knight on g1. That knight is screaming to come out to f3, and white puts his queen there. Bad move, queen f3. Knight f6 from Bo, good developing move. Knight c3, good move. d6 and h3. White wants to keep the bishop out of g4. Knight c6 developing, and knight d5. And there's another comment here, don't play with the same piece in the opening twice. Develop your pieces first, bring your army into position, all your pieces want to be at the party, and playing with the same piece twice in the opening is against that rule of thumb. These are all comments for white, not for Bo. Bo plays very well so far. He plays bishop e6, developing another piece, and knight takes f6 from white. Knight takes f6 check. The third move in 6 moves with this same piece. In this case it makes some sense, as it will ruin black's pawn structure, as we will see. Bo took with the queen. Queen takes, g takes, and now black's pawn structure on the king side is not looking very nice. But it has cost white a lot of time to accomplish this. He played g4, and all I can say is, white, why do you not develop your pieces? Bring your pieces into play. Knight d4 from Bo, threatening knight c2, check, with a fork on king and rook. A move here is bishop d3, developing a piece and at the same time protecting the c2 square, but white decided to play with his king and give up his castling rights, king d1. d5 from Bo, and f3, ouch. Such a move really hurts your eyes. Both players have a similar rating on chess.com, but Bo understands chess a lot better than the white player. f3 is really a horrible move. You have to develop your pieces. Bishop c5, c3, knight c6, bishop b5. Call the newspapers. White is developing a piece. Bo castled queenside, and bishop takes c6. Ouch. Again playing with the same piece twice, while there are still a lot of developing to do for white. B takes c6, e takes d5, and here c takes d5 makes more sense, at least to my eyes, straightening out the pawn formation somewhat. But Bo takes with the bishop. Not a bad move. The bishop is nice and active on d5. d4 from white, and bishop back to b6. And that is probably a counting error. That pawn is attacked twice on d4 by white's pawn on e5, by black's pawn on e5, and by the bishop on c5. So Bo could just have taken that pawn. He takes d4. If white takes back, then bishop takes d4, and black has won a pawn. Bo played bishop b6 instead of taking on d4. g5 from white. Ouch. f5 from Bo. h4. h6. Bo could still have taken on d4 here, winning a pawn. After h6, white played rook h2. not clear what the purpose of this move is, and it leaves the knight on g1 unprotected. And that's another rule of thumb in general. It's good to keep your pieces protected. Even if there's not an immediate threat, it's always advisable to protect your pieces, to keep your position harmonious. Beau took on g5, and here this move that is screaming out is bishop takes g5, developing that piece. And rook dg8 looks like an option, and there are two unprotected pieces on the g-file, but with bishop e3, white can solve both problems. His knight on g1 is then protected. But white did not play bishop takes g5, he played h5. And now Beau took on d4, and now white took on g5. Rook dg8, and now there is no bishop e3 because there's now a black pawn on d4. White does not have to lose a piece because there's still f4 to protect the bishop, but now Beau could have played f6, although then bishop takes f6 attacks the rook on h8, and yes, you can play rook takes g1 and that's check, and there's an unprotected rook on a1, but it's a bit messy. Beau probably decided against this and played rook h7. h6 from white. Beau took on c3, and b takes c3 played after 6 seconds, overlooking that there's a piece hanging. The knight on g1 is hanging. Beau saw it, took on g1, has won a piece. Rook h4, bishop e3, king e2, rook e8, king d3, bishop b6, a4, a5, rook c1, bishop b3, rook b1, Beau takes another pawn, rook h3, bishop b5 check, c4, bishop a6, rook c1, rook e4, king d2, a4, c5, and after c5 you can play bishop a5. That's an active move. It's also with a tempo, it's check, but Beau played a more passive move, bishop a7. Rook h2, a3, rook c2, and f6. And that's not a very good move, Beau. You are helping white in reactivating that bishop that is stuck on g5. And that's another rule of thumb. Don't help your opponent to reactivate or activate his pieces. Bishop c4 was a good alternative to keep pushing the a-pawn. After f6, white took on f6, rook takes f4, but now the bishop on f6 is alive. And it was very passive on g5. Rook h5 from white, rook c4, bishop c3, and Beau took another pawn, bishop b4, rook takes c2 check, king takes, a2, king b2, bishop c4, bishop c3, and f4. Beau is running with another pass pawn now. Rook h4 is a nice move, it's spinning the f-pawn, but Beau pushes the f-pawn anyway, f3. He doesn't mind that he's losing that piece, rook takes c4, as he recognizes how strong his passed pawn is. He took on h6, king takes a2, and there is f2, nicely protected by the bishop on a7. Rook f4, rook h1, protecting the promotion square, king b2, f1, promotion to queen, rook takes f1, rook takes f1, and I'll stop here. We have looked at 49 moves. Black, of course, is easily winning here with rook and 2 pawns extra. It still got quite exciting because Bo was running out of time and he checkmated with 2 seconds on the clock. I'll show you the last moves. On the 64th move, Bo played his king from e5, from e4 to d3. King e1 is the only legal move, and now there is a nice little mate, rook c1 checkmate. Bo was lucky that there was a checkmate in one available with the bishop on a7 taking the f2 square away, because if he had to make a few more moves to checkmate white and make sure there is no stalemate, then he probably would have lost on time. Well, not lost, the game would have been a draw then, because white does not have any mating potential anymore. But he was just on time and won this game, and he really deserved this victory. He played very well. Bo, you played very well, much better than your opponent who has a similar rating. You completely outplayed him, and for white it's back to the beginners lessons about developing your pieces. Well done, Bo, great game, and thank you for sending it to me. Hope you enjoyed Bo's adventure. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, please subscribe to the Chess2 Progress channel. Please leave a comment, and if you liked the video, it would be great if you could share it on social media. You also may want to check out my Chess2 Impress channel. The link is in the description box. This is Rick from Chess to Progress. Thank you for watching.